Good morning, everybody. Tequila here, and today we are going to get into what I am now calling the Rangeless Blender. And I've talked to a couple people, and I actually thought about doing this a long time before I even switched to Orb Devo at like 50 billion lifetime coins. But in theory, you're just not unlocking range in the attack workshop. And before we actually get into the build here, the the reason that I'm suggesting this is I have a very hectic and busy lifestyle. I run the computer on BlueStacks, or rather, I run the game on my computer from BlueStacks, and then I remote desktop in. Um, there are several times where I'm going hours without being able to check in. Sometimes even the entire run of almost 12 hours. And with my work schedule, I was pretty much forced to run Blender because Orb Devo was just not able to be quite as AFKable. It was way more cells and similar coins for me to run Blender over Orb Devo and doing kind of longer AFK runs. And I spoke to Driver in the Discord. He mentioned something called Meep Devo, but we didn't actually get into it. The gist of it was just don't unlock the ranged uh, tab under the attack tree. Well, I tried it out, and as you see here, these 3 runs were done. All of these were done with the same workshop, so I don't really know why the coin fluctuation happened, but here we've got 3 runs of tier 7, all at around 170 to 180 billion, pushing around 7,900 give or take waves. Almost, this one's almost 7,800. This one was the shortest at just shy of 7,900. And I tried, basically, I put everything exactly where it was, except for I completely devoed my ranged category, or sorry, my attack category, and did not unlock range. And that allowed me, if you see here, these tier 7 runs at almost 8,100. I think the coins that I put in my attack, I just put into extra EHP enhancements. So, but I did not do any farming. I did not add coins in between farming runs or anything like that. And as you see here, these are 3 runs around 8,100 or so, and considerably more coins per hour. So over here, I'm at 182 as my best. These two were actually like 170 billion, and then over here, you've got 227 and 264 billion. So quite a big coin increase. When I did the math, I think the average of the 3 runs back here versus the 3 runs up here was 25.4% coin increase of doing this rangeless blender instead of standard blender. And to actually get into the build here, here is my workshop. So the key thing here is you do not click this unlock ranged upgrades. And I have my crit chance gold boxed because I'm a bit of a non-believer. Even though everybody says orbs count as crits no matter what, I want my crit chance maxed. So I run crit chance card and I gold box crit chance. Outside of the crit chance though, everything, damage, attack speed, and critical factor are all level 0 and are going to do virtually no damage for the start of the run. So technically this is a form of Devo, even though it's still Blender. For the defense tree, it doesn't really matter here. For ease of use here, I've got 5,000 points into health, regen, and dabs. Please do not do, or do as I say and not as I do. Do not invest into dabs. I'm doing kind of a meme build. I'm investing in dabs, and outside of tier 1, please do not do this. But it's pretty standard EHP, just gold box your defense, your thorns, lifesteal, stuff like that. It is worth noting that your knockback chance you want to start at 0, and your knockback force at 0. Those will reduce your coins. So hopefully they kind of upgrade the last. And then also, if you look here on perks, a very, very important perk to put high up, I even have it above my regular coin bonus here, is the minus knockback force, because this makes it where you are no longer going to be knocking back every enemy. It makes you trim a lot less. You will make considerably more coins having this high up. I almost want to put it up here all the way below max game speed, but I think I'm going to just leave it here. I've kind of tested it out a little bit, and it seems to be, I mean, there's always a little bit of perk fluctuation, so it's hard unless you're running a ton of runs, but it seems to be the best right here, even above the coin bonuses. And so back to the workshop, it is basically just full EHP, and then your utility section here, it's pretty standard for Blender. You're just gold boxing everything and putting as much as you can into your level skips. I think these first few roughly 100 levels or so of level skips are worth it. They're decently cheap still, and it lets you gold box that a lot faster in the run. And but the biggest thing here is it is a form of Blender, because you are using free attack or free upgrades to gold box everything in run. But because you don't have this range upgrade, it can only go into these three, and you will be stuck at the base 30-meter range. For enhancements here, just going through them, I have a tiny bit of damage. Once again, please do not invest in dabs. It is not worth it unless you are farming tier 1, which at that point you will not have enhancements. But it is full EHP here, and as much coins and cells as you can muster. And basically, the rule of thumb for these is you want your one click of cells or coins to be roughly one of your farming runs, if not slightly more. So as you can see here, it's 9.8 for my next click of cells per kill. And if we pull up Project Rend again, I am making, here we go, 5.83 T in a run. That's a shorter run actually. This one was longer, so 6.13. So I'm making around 5 to 6 trillion per run. And so like I'm basically a run and a half, almost 2 full runs from actually getting this click. So I don't really want to save if it ever works out to where I do like a farming run and then I'm tired and don't invest a lot and then I do an overnight. Or also, these are getting kind of expensive, so I'll do a click on this and then I'll save the leftovers. And if that equals up to this after the next run, then I can get that click. But pretty standard there. Going into the modules here, your what is this, cannon module does not matter. The super crit chance here is actually 0 because I don't have super crit unlocked, but it does not matter what you run here. You are not really doing damage. The biggest thing though is because it is a farming strategy, you just do not want to run the, where is it, death penalty, here we go. You do not want to run death penalty. This will massively reduce your coins. Any other thing, I guess shrink ray would also be not the best because you're reducing mass, so you're going to knock enemies back more. So outside of avoiding those two, it doesn't really matter. You're not doing bounce shots because you don't have it unlocked. Same thing with Rend here. It pretty much doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you level it up or not. Some people would actually recommend not even putting damage in here for the true EHP. I don't think it really matters. For your, what is that? Let's go to armor first. So for armor module, this is EHP. I would recommend doing this build with the wall. I don't feel like you can quite do this as efficiently without the wall, just the way wall thorns works, as well as the hoarding and the EHP you have. I feel like you almost need sharp fortitude. Even if it's only an epic sharp fortitude will still work. You should be running sharp fortitude. Defense percent not defense absolute. You want wall health, and then health regen are the 3 stats that you want. Um, so pretty much only sharp fortitude. Uh, Everything else would kind of work, but not really compared to the sharp. This is an EHP build, and it should be done once you have the wall. For what are these called? Generator modules. I would recommend, because it is mainly farming coins, like this is an econ farming strategy, you should be running either BHD for the coins. If you are running a BHD, however, you do not have to not unlock the wall, or sorry, the range in your attack tree. You can unlock the range and then leave all of the stuff at 0, still fully devo your attack, and it would give you similar runs, but it would probably push you slightly further and be better for tournaments, just fully devoing your attack. However, what is better for me, because it's considerably more cells, is leaving that range out and getting using a G-comp. So I actually tested this here, and so my last run, let me switch it to 5. So my last run here, I went 7,700 waves. I made 520 coins per hour and almost 6K cells. And then I did um, this run with BHD, and uh, I got slightly less waves. It was actually a much faster run, but I got considerably more cells per hour. I got almost 10% more, or sorry, coins, almost 10% more coins per hour. However, I lost 1.2k cells per hour, and so you know that's like a 40% loss, and that's, you know, napkin mathing in my head. But you know, I saw about a 10% coin increase, but I saw a almost 40% cell decrease, and that is with the new update where cells are considerably less. I've heard a lot of people saying anywhere from 10 to 30% less cells. So that could be playing a factor, but also just kind of logically getting more ultimate weapon sinks, you are going to get um, more death waves out. You're going to get more cells. And for the, what is this, core module, it does not matter what you're running here. I am running a econ farmed dim core because it is my first ever mythic. So I have it rolled for econ. I do not care as much about what's it called. The biggest thing here is you want to replace this smart missile damage with a death wave quantity. Death wave quantity is the most important stat, I could say, outside of maybe spotlight angle, and then golden tower bonus is absolutely massive as well. So full econ here. If I could, I would replace this with any other module. Doesn't really matter at all what this core module is, but like I said, golden tower bonus, spotlight angle, and death wave quantity. And going into the run here, I'll start around and kind of show you what it looks like. So pretty much you have your extra orbs with the labs. So you have the extra orb adjuster. You have that at your minimum range. I have a few levels in the range lab that I just don't have set to 0. So I'm at 33 meters instead of 30. Does not matter. Another key thing here is it actually lets, I have a base 50-meter black hole, no module substat, and here in just a second, whenever my sync goes off, it will I'll show you how big the black holes actually are when it comes to tower coverage. Here it is. So as you can see, there's almost no spawn place except for right here and right here where enemies can spawn, and they are almost immediately getting to the black hole range where they're going to just get sucked in. And that massively increases, you know, everything is basically dying in the black hole, and with the changes to everything in your black hole giving you black hole coin bonus in the most recent V27, I think this is going to be a massive coin increase. Everything's dying in your tower range. Your entire range is covered and then some from the black holes, and that is with just a 50-meter black hole. If you're running a substat, I think it's only 40 meters that you would have to get. to get pretty much a similar level of coverage. So as you can see here, kind of everything is dying similar to Blender, where it's getting in and it's dying, even from just, my projectiles, the orbs, the black holes, everything is just dying. Once you get the perks, and especially that knockback perk, and as things scale, because the scaling is exponential, generally around anywhere from 1,000 to 1,300, like definitely by 1,300, is where enemies are going to start really hoarding on the tower. And because you have, these two sets of orbs with a massive shockwave size, you are going to be knocking enemies away, and they will be trimmed more than you would prefer. Alright guys, so here we are at the tail end of a farming run here. I messed up and deleted the footage of my tier 8, so here is my test attempt run at tier 10. It's looking pretty good for myself actually, but as you can see here, the enemies kind of hoard up, and then similar to Orb Devo, they kind of just chill until your ultimate weapon sync. We are, you have the attack workshop devoed, as well as no damage cards, so you're not killing anything with projectiles, you're pretty much only killing with orbs and black holes. And it almost turns into Orb Devo. For a while there, before I started calling this Rangeless Blender, I was calling it the cross between Blender and Orb Devo, because it kind of becomes Orb Devo later on, just slightly less efficient because you're hoarding a lot more small enemies rather than only tanks. But as you can see here, still doing pretty good, making just shy of 22 billion per minute here, and we are still not even at spawn cap. But that is going to do it for the video. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I really appreciate anybody that's made it this far. If you could, do me a favor, make the YouTube algorithm happy. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'm going to time-lapse the rest of this run for anybody interested at the end here. So at this point, just remember guys, it's a good day to have a great day. Have a good night.